Hey guys, what's up? It's Phoebe, and this is Mike from Alternative Twist Radio. He's our station owner. I'm your DJ host. So today we have a new artist spotlight, today featuring Brian Gandy from Small Town SINdrome. Welcome, Brian.
Hey, good morning, Mike and Phoebe. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, we're so happy that you're able to come on today.
We're glad to be here.
Yeah. So, how did you actually gather the band to be Small Town SINdrome?
Well, I guess that probably with some bands maybe out there, that it all started with a call to the police department. So we Adam is the drummer and also my stepson, and we started just jamming on my back porch. We really, that's how the band came about, and he plays the drums, of course, and I play the guitar, and so we just started kind of jamming on things. And one night I guess we got a little loud for the neighbors, and the sheriff came out, and which he was very cool about it, and no issues. But that's really truly how we kind of started, just jamming. And then John Hackler, our bassist, was a buddy of Adam's, and we convinced him to just join up so we would have a third person to jam with. Next thing we know, we're doing some shows, and then we're in a studio doing our first album, and then we just released our second album last fall. So it just kind of happened very quickly for us. But I guess you would have to go back to that. That's those jams on my back porch.
Oh my goodness!
Nice, yeah.
Were there any arrests or any
No, none of us went to jail. Although I guess that'd make for a better story, though. But no arrests, no indictments, nothing like that. So it's kind of funny because we had with COVID last 2020, we had a whole bunch of our summer shows that were canceled. So we thought, well, what do we do? So we actually back to my back porch, right? So we invited a few friends over, and then kind of word got out, and then more and more people kept coming to the thing. I'm like, man, I am going to go to jail, So we have some kind of this unlicensed outdoor music venue or something. But actually,
wow.
To tell you the truth, so actually we got another noise complaint when we did do that. I'm like, okay, look, who's calling the police during COVID? Nothing's open. Nobody has a music release of any way to go see any show or anything. But it's kind of funny because neighbors that sort of got used to us. We did a few of those over the summer, and people would start like, well, when's the next one? Like, well, I don't know. We don't really have a schedule. This is when we feel like we want to go outside and have a jam, but it became a kind of a cool thing. But yeah, that's how the band got going.
Good.
You know how you can find out, and I don't know if this is gonna go out to your neighborhood, but if this is just between us three here, then you can invite your whole neighborhood. And whoever doesn't show up,
yes,
you'll know that's Karen. That's Ken.
Idea.
Whoever it is
that's
reporting.
Process of elimination. That's absolutely that's a great idea.
Yeah. There's a list. That one didn't show up. Okay, that's him.
Okay, that's the neighbor across the street.
Right.
Then there's Dawn. Then Steve. He didn't make it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
So, talking about your touring, you touched on it. So I read on your website that this was before COVID. You were on tour halfway or something through the South America, Europe, even Australia and the Philippines, right? Do you know if that's going to pick up?
We had big plans, and and everything got kind of shut down, and all of the plans. We're still next spring. We're about 99% sure that we're going to make the UK trip happen. And there's so many places. It's kind of funny because we have so many people that follow us, and they're literally from all corners of the earth, and so we love to go everywhere. So
yeah.
But reality is reality, and all of that, and but now that it looks like we've maybe, hopefully, knock on wood, that we've got COVID in the rearview mirror as far as the music industry goes and venues and all that good stuff. But it looks like next year the UK thing is going to happen, and it'll be a short trip, but it'll be good. So really, as far as the rest of 2022 and early next spring, it's just going to be staying within the United States and just playing as much as we can everywhere we can.
Mm-hmm.
True.
That's awesome. And if anything in the UK happens, let us know, because we have
Oh,
listeners in the
absolutely.
UK. We're putting the word out. So more, listeners you have, the better.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Will do.
Uh-huh. Great.
Yes.
So I was listening to your songs. I think I found you guys either on TikTok or Facebook, one of the music groups.
Okay.
And yeah, I just fell in love with your music, your style. It really reminded me of Blink 182 and a little bit of Sublime. Not like
Hmm.
too much of the really, the token back in the days, but more of the just a little chill,
Mhm,
really kind of
mhm.
slow kind of groove. So can you tell us about your lyrical writing process as well as your instrumental? How does that come along?
Well, there's no secret, Blink 182, and you nailed it, Phoebe. I mean, that's a
Mm-hmm.
huge. In fact, going back to when Adam and I started jamming on the back porch, that was really kind of one of those things. It's like, well, what do you know? Well, what do you know? Well, how about,
Uh-huh.
Small Things, Blink 182. He happened to love Travis
Yeah.
Barker, of course, as a drummer, and
Yes.
that's really, we started playing Blink songs, and that really kind of grew out from there. But so you'll hear, I think, Blink, Green Day, as you said, Sublime. We're all of us are huge Sublime fans, so all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff, goes in and comes out, and so you'll hear, I think, a lot of that stuff in our music. But as far as the lyrics go, it's really whatever sort of, it's kind of, you start playing, sometimes it'll happen with the music will come first, and then other times it's just the lyric, and then you're searching for, what can we match this up with, that kind of thing. But so there's really no great, secret to it. It's, I guess, and for me as a songwriter, it's, what mood am I in that day, right? So one day
Mm-hmm.
I may be just, feeling sublime-ish, and other
Mm-hmm.
days I want the hot, the faster stuff or harder stuff, or maybe there's, I want to just sit down at the piano and, play something more of a classic rock kind of a thing. So it just, any given day, I guess, is different. And that's really kind of the beauty of this band is that we don't necessarily restrict ourselves in any way to what we do. We don't want to. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's got a little different taste musically, and so we want to try to appeal to the broadest base that we possibly can. So, but all of those bands are huge influences, and so doesn't surprise me when someone says, "Hey, I hear a little of that." And it's funny, we'll hear,
Mm-hmm.
people say, "Boy, that sounds like Cheap Trick or Thin Lizzy," or and bands that I wasn't thinking that. Certainly when I wrote the song or we put the music together, we weren't going for that sound. It just kind of came out. When Pete, I don't know if you guys know, but Pete Steinkoff of the Bouncing Souls, that we recorded, he was our recording engineer, and he mixed our last album. And it was kind of funny. Pete and I were working on a song. We actually were really lucky to be able to actually record in his studio back in New Jersey. And it was funny. He and I were working on one of the songs. In fact, it was "Tell Me Why," the song "Tell Me Why," in which Pete plays a little guitar on it as well. And he and I looked at each other and were like, "Man, what's that sound like?" And we almost instantaneously said, "Thin Lizzy." So it is kind of weird how that stuff, comes about, how it comes out in the music. But I think that's the great part of it. And probably any artist that you talk to, that's all of those influences and things go into the hopper, and then, it comes out and it's magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was listening to all your songs, I fell in love. It brought me back to it gave me a nostalgic feeling, back
Mhm.
when I was in high school. It's like, oh man, back in the day, I love that song.
Well, that's it. And it's kind of funny because then, not in any way knocking new music at all, because I think, we always have to have those people that are on the front, the forerunners of things, and experiment and push the whole, whatever genre it is, right, and continue to
Mhm.
evolve. But you can't help go back to that good stuff, and that
Yeah.
had and like you said, that maybe had a special time in all of our
Mhm.
lives. And certainly
Yeah.
that's, I mean, when Blink 182 came out, or for me, even more powerful than that was the Green Day, like specifically the Dookie album
Yes.
in 1994, or Nirvana for that matter.
Oh yeah.
That stuff that doesn't go away, and it stays there,
Mhm.
rattles around, and
Yeah.
so it's like I said, when stuff goes into the hopper, you're trying to make a song, that stuff does leak out one way or the other, I think.
Mhm.
True.
And what's really sad, now that you mentioned Nirvana, Blink 182, Sublime, now I've heard those groups sound they're called classic, and I was like,
Right.
what? How's that classic? What are you talking
Yeah.
about? Classic is
Yeah.
like 60s, 70s, but now
Exactly.
the
I know.
millennials are calling us classic. I was like, okay, you wait, you'll be classic soon too. Don't worry.
I know. When you think about, Dookie came out in 1994. It's like, what is that? How does it can't be? But
I read on your website you guys are signed through JAB Records. Is that correct?
that is actually our own. Well, man, that's a good question. That's our own record company. So
Oh,
okay.
Yep. So that's something that we are doing ourselves, and we've had different opportunities to look at different smaller labels, and we just feel that that's just kind of our best way to go. Is to just do what we want to do, and again, as I mentioned earlier, not be restricted in any way to what people maybe outside the band thinks we should be doing. We just want to make music and have fun with it. And so that is the JAB, which by the way stands for John, Adam, and Brian. So that's the JAB. Well, we had a local artist that actually designed our little logo thing, whatever you want. It looks like a pincushion kind of voodoo doll or something, and we couldn't figure out, well, we got to call this something, right? And so we actually had put it to our fans, and they came up with Jab. So it's kind of the jab thing with the needle, and then the John, Adam, Brian thing. So it kind of worked out. So we lovingly refer to him, it, her, whatever that is, as Jab, and then that's also the record label that we have, Jab Records.
Okay.
That's really cool. So that's really inspiring that you created your own record label. I know a lot of the musicians that we talk to, that's all that they dream of is being discovered, being in that lounge or bar, then someone from afar sees them and talks to them. But did you want to talk about how you guys created your own label?
Well, there's really nothing too terribly scientific about it or extraordinary. It just was, like I said, really one of the things necessity wise that we needed to do to have something. You can't just have music out there with so self published and all of that. But and for me personally, that's probably the direction that I'm going to go at some point with my music career, is that I would actually really enjoy helping other bands get started, because as you said, sitting around waiting for that magic moment, that some big producer or A&R person is going to walk through that door and go, fall in love with you, right? I mean, there's so many bands out there, so many musicians, and so many are so phenomenally talented that it's sad to say that they'll probably never be discovered that way. And I don't know if that's maybe like the old way that it was done, and it probably was. That's how it happened. Somebody got discovered, got signed, and all of that. But for us, we certainly don't want to wait around to publish music. And I think now with technology, I mean, you could have somebody sitting at their laptop in a room, not really knowing much about music, and still put songs together like GarageBand and, the different apps that are out there now. There's so many avenues now for musicians to be able to record and distribute their music. There's a lot of and we use one in particular, but there are a lot out there that so you have access. You have access to Spotify and to Google Play and Apple Music and all of that stuff. So it really is from that evolution to where really I think fans are more. It's easier to connect with fans all over the world, and we certainly have. But there are so many musicians out there, so many bands. So to try to cut through that, and be unique and in hopes of that big record deal, I'm not sure anymore that that's really the formula.
Yeah, true.
Well, yeah. At the end of the day, that's kind of what I really hope. You learn a lot doing this stuff. You learn, certainly what to do, but what not to do as well. But and I've helped a lot of now I've kind of gotten in this position where musicians, bands will reach out to me and, what do you think about this, or how do we go about that, and where can we get booked, and what can we do, so, and I like doing that stuff, and I think and certainly member of a lot of the music communities that support bands and support each other And so, yeah, I'd like to do that stuff. So really, probably the record label will be something that I will continue on and get more after I get done. I'm not done yet. There's nothing like playing live and be able to go out, play shows and with people and have that magic. So once I kind of get to the point where I'm like, okay, well, maybe a little less of that, and I'll probably turn it more to the business side of it.
So speaking of that, do you have any other upcoming projects that you want to talk about?
Well, as far as the band goes, everything we're focused on is the band. We're writing new music. We've got new music written and songs, and we've got all kinds of different ideas and parts and pieces of things. But I think our goal this year is really to get back in the studio. We just, it's kind of funny because we talk about like our last album like it was released years ago, and it was only 4 or 5 months ago that we put it out. So it's like, holy cow, it's time to do another album, But yeah, our things come quickly. And one of the beautiful things about Small Town SINdrome and what we do is that there's only 3 of us, but when we get together, it's just the creative juices flow, and we do create very quickly, and we want to capture that. And so obviously getting into recording a studio anywhere and to be able to get that down is key. So that's kind of what we're looking at this year, is just really starting to look at the next album. We may do things a little different this year. Instead of doing an EP or full album, is just to release singles. But we want to definitely, we think we have some really good stuff, this new stuff that we're doing. And so we want to be able to get that as quickly as possible. So that's probably, as far as project wise, really what we're going to do. Work on recording the new stuff, but then also again, getting out and seeing as many people as we can, and hopefully the shows, the venues, all of that will continue to open up, and so that's really kind of our focus.
That's great. So while we're on the topic, why don't we take this time now to watch your music video? Okay,
sounds good.
That was a great video. Thanks so much, Brian.
Oh, glad you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thanks for watching, guys. Please share, like, and subscribe to our channel, and find us on all of our social media, links in our bio. Thanks.